the people here on Vox Populi 1460 and worldwide at WVOX.com for you and yours.
We never take you for granted.
Our New Year's resolution is to work even harder to be your number one radio station, VOX.
1460 WVOX.
Good afternoon, everyone. You're listening to the CanVets Radio Report on WVOX 1460, heard around the world on WVOX.com. This is Jack McGurkle with Ken Creaser bringing you this half-hour discussion of issues related to veterans and the active military. Now, here's Ken. Happy New Year, Ken. First show of the 2023.
Yeah. Happy New Year to you, Jack. Thank you for your dedication. As you said, we did 52 weeks of the show last year, never missed a week. And I said you were there on a number of weeks when I couldn't make it or I was traveling.
Mm-hmm.
So we thank you. You did a great job covering the Ukraine war last year. As in the year before, you did a great job covering the Department of Veterans Affairs, how they were handling COVID and the numbers of their staff who died covering, taking care of patients. It was in around 400. We have to do another talk with the VA very soon. I was just going to say, if you saw 60 Minutes last night, they did a nice show on Radio Free Europe, and you may be able to find it on their webpage or on a recording. And I thought it was fascinating to hear how much they're doing in trying to get free journalism, true journalism, out to Europe and into Russia. And they went in and said that, they have a number of Russian journalists who are working at Radio Free Europe. I think what they said, they were working, their office is out of Prague, but they've got a number of different offices. But they're a free and independent group. They're funded to an extent by the United States, but they are independent in their editorial content, and they have their executive director on saying their job is to tell what they see happening, the truth. And, I think in the spirit of Bill O'Shaughnessy, it's great to see. So it's good. It's worth to try and look up online a 60-minute story on Radio Free Europe. Yes, and I know you got a bunch of stories for us.
Absolutely. We'll start off with what's happening in Ukraine. Russia attacked Ukraine with 16 Iranian-made drones overnight last week, with 7 of them targeting the capital, Kyiv, according to Ukrainian officials. All the drones were destroyed, according to Kyiv's military. A day earlier, Thursday, a wave of Russian missiles were fired at cities across the country. Russia says it's been striking energy and military targets to weaken Ukraine's capacity to move army reserves and repair equipment. Now, those drones I mentioned, 5 of the drones were shot down in the air, 2 on approach. There was a lot of drones there. And Ukraine's armed forces said that the country has been hit within a 24-hour time span, 180 strikes. That's a lot. 180
strikes
within a 24-hour time span last week. That's drones, missiles, everything. And it's believed that Russia has been using Iranian-made Shahed 136 drones in the Ukrainian conflict since September, though Iran has denied this. Each drone has explosives in a warhead on its nose and is designed to loiter over a target until it is instructed to attack. So it's essentially like a kamikaze drone, it sort of sounds like.
Do you have an idea how big these drones are and what the warhead size might be?
Not sure. I'll have to look into that.
Because that's the thing, that's the way this is going, the way warfare is going, is drone warfare, the kamikaze attacks like you just described, and basically self-directed missiles, which these are using GPS. So it's all about your technology. And one of the things is how you shoot down drones now. And that's a big topic for the U.S. Army, for the U.S. military. And also how we talked about last week, some of the missile systems that can knock down other missiles are very expensive, like the Patriot. They're $4 million a missile. And I saw something on television where there was a defense against an attack, and they're just sending one missile off after another. I mean, they probably sent out 15 in a volley defensively. So we're going to have more shows on. We're going to try and get some more expertise on this. So go ahead.
Russian President Vladimir Putin oversaw the commissioning of new warships and vowed last week to further strengthen his country's navy.
So go ahead.
Russian President Vladimir Putin oversaw the commissioning of USS Suvorov nuclear submarine. The submarine armed with Bulava nuclear-tipped intercontinental ballistic missiles is the sixth submarine of the new Borai class to join the Russian Navy. And another submarine of the same type, Emperor Alexander III, was launched during the ceremony that was on Thursday last week. The Navy plans to commission that one following trials. But new ships joining the Russian Navy.
What's the class name on that again, Jack?
That is the Borei, B-O-R-E-I class submarine joining the Navy.
And are they listed as being nuclear propelled?
Yes,
Wow.
I believe so. Yeah. So this could be the same type of submarines that we've been talking about previously that have been launching missiles from the Black Sea to Ukraine. So we could see these ships joining the Russian fleet in the Black Sea, I guess.
Well, are these described as being ballistics for housing and launching intercontinental ballistic missiles, or might they be for more conventional warfare?
No, the submarine it says armed with Bulava nuclear-tipped intercontinental ballistic missiles.
That's a ballistic. That's a boomer.
Yeah.
That's not an attack submarine like a Los Angeles or Virginia class. That's comparable to an Ohio or the new Columbia class. So we're going to get one of our Navy sub-experts on to see how capable they think these ships are. They're very dangerous from a nuclear warfare point of view.
And the U.S. military says a Chinese fighter jet flew dangerously close to an Air Force plane over the South China Sea, forcing the American pilot to maneuver to avoid a collision. U.S. Indo-Pacific Command said in a statement last week that the incident occurred December 21st when a Chinese Army-Navy J-11 flew in front of and within 20 feet of the nose of an RC-135, a type of large reconnaissance plane operated by the U.S. Air Force. The plane was lawfully conducting routine operations over the South China Sea in international airspace, statement said. Its pilot was forced to take evasive maneuvers to avoid a collision. China frequently challenges military aircraft from the U.S. and its allies, especially over the strategically vital South China Sea, which China claims as its entirety. The U.S. and others have accused China of harassing military aircraft and ships in the East China Sea off the Chinese coast and as far away as the Horn of Africa, where China operates a naval base. So, scary story there. Almost had a collision between these two fighter jets, sounds like.
Well, the U.S. and Chinese forces are jousting over the South China Sea, the U.S. trying to maintain its right of airspace or the sea lanes, and the Chinese challenging that. And that's going to be one of the stories we watch in 2023 is what moves China makes to infer its power over that area and to challenge the independence of Taiwan.
Indeed, and sticking with that side of the world, going to the Korean Peninsula, North Korea fired 3 short-range ballistic missiles toward its eastern waters in the latest weapons display over the weekend, the day after South Korea conducted a rocket launch related to its push to build a space-based surveillance to better monitor the North. Tensions between those have been rose in recent weeks. But the 3 launches were from an inland area south of Pyongyang, which is the capital of North Korea, and said that the 3 missiles traveled about 220 miles before landing in the waters between the Korean Peninsula and Japan. Estimated range suggests that the missiles tested could target South Korea. And South Korea still flew 3 of its surveillance drones across the border on Monday in an unusual tit for tat. So North Korea continuing those missile tests and tensions rising here along the Korean Peninsula.
Yeah, one of these days, North Korea is going to lose control of one of its missiles, and it's going to hit Japan or South Korea, and it's going to be the start of a conflict.
Indeed. You've been listening to the Canvas Radio Report on WVOX AM 1460, heard around the world on WVOX.com. We'll be right back after the 3 Fox News break, so stay tuned.